Female dumped the end of Hill Street.
Hard evidence.
Come on, we have a clue.
A motive?
What's in it for you, Cole? More glory?
And best of all, a confession.
Are you gonna tell me what's going on? Or do more innocent people have to die?
I'm not lying! She got up and left, that was it!
You think your threats frighten me?
Answer the question!
This is your chance. Don't fail me.
So when it was first released back in 2011, LA Noire was praised for its rich narrative, satisfying gameplay mechanics, crime scene investigations, as well as interrogation sequences. Most notably, however, the game was absolutely praised for its use of motion capture technology. They had a list of 70 actors and actresses who would come in and not only act out these sequences, but also have their facial animations captured while doing so. This translates to the game well because it's a detective noir story, so you are interviewing people, you are interrogating people, and because they did this with this technology, you can see the most human facial animations, and it really helps to tell if someone's being upfront with you or if they have something to hide. It's really fantastic that they're able to do this. Also, it helps separate this game from the rest of Rockstar's library. The protagonist, Cole Phelps, is played by actor Aaron Staton, who you might recognize from AMC's Mad Men. Actually, there is a bunch of AMC's Mad Men cast throughout the playthrough of this game. It's almost as if Team Bondi was a big fan of the show and liked how these actors and actresses looked for that era and decided to use them in their game as well, which actually helped quite a bit because these people look like they belong here, and it really helped to suspend your disbelief while playing.
The victim must be in a very bad way. Any sign of the guy? Not unless he's in the truck.
Unfortunately, the game did have things holding it back from a perfect score when it came out, and those things are in the game today as well. There are bugs in the game, there are lighting issues because of the motion capture technology. The game does really promote that you drive around from crime scene to crime scene. However, the streets of Los Angeles do not cater to you driving on them really well. I don't know if it's a collision problem, but you would brush up against something and your vehicle would almost come to a complete halt. Also, never in my life have I experienced NPCs try to run into your car more than I have in this game, which is really frustrating because you'll be chasing down a suspect and you'll have a perfect case so far, and then a civilian will literally try to commit suicide and run into your car. It's very frustrating, and I found myself restarting cases a lot of the time because it will dock you for that. The streets of Los Angeles are also suspiciously empty. There is not a whole lot to do outside of the main story. There are a total of 40 side missions, and they will play out like so. You'll be driving in your car with your partner, and you will get a dispatch call to one of these 40 side missions. However, they are kind of repetitive. You will be solving a bank robbery by shooting a bunch of people, or you will be solving a shootout by shooting a bunch of people. You will capture a suspect by chasing them on foot. You will capture a suspect by chasing them in a car, and it is rinsed and repeated with just different people in different situations. None of these things, however, were enough to prevent me from thoroughly enjoying my time with LA Noire. It is a great game and a fantastic experience that's very unique, and there's nothing really quite like it. So let's take a look and see how the game itself plays and functions on the Nintendo Switch and see how it compares to the other ports of the game that have been re-released. So the major thing that people want to see is graphically, how does it compare to the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X version of the game. It is not nearly as sharp looking, and some of the textures aren't nearly as impressive as they are on those much more powerful systems. However, if you compare it to the PlayStation 3 original release of the game, it's pretty spot on. It might even look a little bit better on the Nintendo Switch, particularly in handheld mode. The drop in resolution and smaller screen size do a whole lot to make this game look so much more smooth. While playing in dock mode, the game is upscaled to 1080p, so you are able to see a little bit more clarity. The game looks a little bit sharper. However, I did run into some issues while playing in docked mode, and most of which would be the game's draw distance while driving in particular. It is god-awful. You feel like you're playing Grand Theft Auto 3 back in 2001. I mean, it's that bad and noticeable. I don't have a capture card, so I used a video camera so I could zoom in and show you what I'm talking about. Now, there's this constant blanket of fog just on the horizon, which is not very far, and buildings and objects are constantly popping in and out of that. It's as if the game is begging you to slow down, which is a real shame because it pulls you right out of 1940s Los Angeles and in fact reminds you that you are just playing a video game. A real bummer and worth noting. However, I did not run into as big of an issue with this while playing in handheld mode. The smaller screen size and smaller resolution seem to smooth this issue out for me. There are some Nintendo Switch specific things put into the port of the game. Most notable would be the HD rumble. Noire again makes a great case for HD rumble. So when you are climbing a ladder, for example, the left and right Joy-Con will rumble when the respective foot touches that ladder rung. It feels great. Same with starting vehicles. When you first start up the ignition, the HD rumble will have kind of a boom of that ignition turning over, and then it will fade out into kind of a purr as you drive. It feels fantastic. A less impressive feature by a large margin would be the game's touch controls. While you can use the camera relatively easily by dragging your finger across the screen or zooming in and out by pinching and spreading your fingers, the game wants you to navigate a notebook pretty regularly, and selecting these tiny words in the notebook was absolutely a chore, and I never selected what I wanted to select, which I could very easily and instantly do just using the Joy-Con grips. Rockstar has come out and said that you can play the whole game using touchscreen controls. I say to that, good luck. I tried it for about 30 minutes and found it to be pretty useless of an addition, and in the end, gimmicky. The final thing I wanted to mention is that the Nintendo Switch's onboard 32GB storage is not enough if you are wanting to digitally download the game. The game itself digitally is 29 gigs, and 6 of your 32 gigs that come with the system are being used for the operating system. So I personally bought a physical copy of the game, which came with a sizable 14GB day one patch that was mandatory. I was able to play the game while this patch installed, which took about an hour and a half. However, I did notice some major lip syncing issues while the download was taking place. These issues dissipated once the download was completed. At the end of the day, it is so fantastic to see Rockstar back on a Nintendo platform. And it's very important that third-party developers are making their way back to the Nintendo Switch. The pros definitely outweigh the cons with this port. I had a fantastic time with this game yet again all these years later, and I can recommend it to anyone who is looking for something a little different than they're used to. It is not Grand Theft Auto, but what it is a fantastic immersive experience that will pull you into an era and not let you go until the end of the game. So those are my thoughts on Noire for the Nintendo Switch. Definitely pick it up. It is going to make a great addition to your Switch library.